Hello everyone and welcome to another of our Mastercraft talks. I'm going to wait for a few minutes to do the introduction just to let a few more people join because we're only literally just at 1:15 now. But glad to see the sunshine out again today. Hopefully everybody is getting over the last little bout of rain. Okay, so we're starting to get some numbers up here. So I'll start the introductions. Today we have Nigel O'Reilly. Nigel is a goldsmith based in the west of Ireland in beautiful Mayo. And Nigel has been creating jewels for some of the world's most luxurious jewellery houses over the last 10 or 11 years or so or more. He has clients from all over the world, but one of the things he specialises in is doing bespoke jewellery with beautiful gems for people, so collaborating a lot with clients. So today, Nigel's going to talk us through that process and in particular focusing on the gemstones. One of the things I just want to remind everybody, if you have any questions, we'll look at those at the end. So in that little chat bar down the bottom there, just pop your questions in and at the end we'll go through those with Nigel. Okay, thanks a million, Nigel. Over to you.
Thanks, Nicola. Hi, I'm Nigel O'Reilly and welcome to our studio and our Diamond Masterclass. Today, I'm going to talk to you about what to look for when you're buying an engagement ring. Not just alone on the diamond, but also the ring that diamond is going to be sitting in too. A lot of people, time after time, I get contacted by people who are really upset by the jewelry they have because stones are falling out. Sometimes even claws have been ripped off the main center stone. And it's really upsetting for them and also for me because when you're buying an engagement ring, it should be a really special experience. And every time you look down at your hand, you should be excited and delighted by what you see on your finger. But 90% of the jewelry that is sold, not just in Ireland, but across the world, is mass produced in places like China and India. And what happens, they're in poorly constructed workshops under bad conditions with bad craftsmanship, and even the quality of the gold can be quite poor. Sometimes when it says 18 karat, that's only a tiny significance of the gold. It can still be incredibly poor quality gold. So to counteract this bad quality, we've created this studio here. And today I'm going to show you the way we work everything, not just from the diamonds, but the traditional skills that we learned to the modern technology that we use. I'm going to say one of the biggest reasons that stones fall out of rings, especially the center stone, is when the diamond is put into a ring that doesn't fit the stone. The way people work it is they buy in 5 or 6 of the same size mount and then try and get 5 different size diamonds into each one of those mounts. That is always going to leave you with trouble. What we do here is we manufacture every single piece of jewelry for that specific center stone. So we start with the center stone and then we work out from that. I'm always talking to my customers about proportions. Proportions is everything when it comes to design. You can't have the same size diamonds in a halo for a 50-pointer ring than you can for a 1 carat. It's all in the proportions where you work from the center and work out. So today I'm going to show you some of the equipment we use. We've got the rolling mills here, which is very traditional. Nothing can work in a studio without the rolling mills. We have the mandrels. You can see all different shapes. We've got the classic round, the cushion shape, which I use quite a lot in men's jewelry. It's one of the benefits when you have bigger knuckles and a smaller part of your finger there. To get it over the knuckle, it's easy, slide them over when they're cushion shaped. Then another square shape, use that quite irregularly sometimes for different shapes, things like that. So these are all the traditional techniques which I was taught by the two master goldsmiths, Erwin Springbrum and Rudolf Helsel in Kilkenny, you guys remember. They were very traditional, everything was done to the old school way, but I used to be an engineer, so when I was training with them, I knew that I could actually combine both techniques for using my engineering experience and the traditional goldsmiths and goldsmithing skills, and then bring them together and make amazing jewelry. So that's what we do in the studio. Obviously, it's a lot busier when we're not in lockdown, but we've always been working through it on a limited level under shifts and things like that. But by next week, we'll be fully up and running again. So if you want to have a look here, what we do, these 2 benches are specifically designed for diamond setting. And we use quite a lot of modern equipment. If you look at These are pneumatically controlled engravers, so they give you complete precision and complete control. We don't use the big pendant drills anymore because we find they're too loose. So we use all these micro motors, which are incredibly accurate. These are, majority of this stuff is dental quality, so that's the kind of level that we want to be working at. Before I talk about diamonds, I'm just going to go through a few little things when it comes to looking at your ring. If you look at a diamond ring, first off, the things you should be noticing is the quality of the claws that hold in the diamond. Okay, for me, and again, everything I say here is just my opinion. I've been working in the diamond industry for close to 15 years now. I've set over 170,000 diamonds. I did a calculation there last night. So this is all just my opinion. Some other people have different styles, different techniques, but this is what I feel makes the best quality diamonds and the best quality jewelry. So when you're looking at a diamond, there's a few things you should be looking for that just initially jump out at you to show good craftsmanship. When you're setting a diamond, it's imperative that there's a little table there in your diamond, and your claws should be lined up from point to point with that. That's just a little technique and a little trick that actually makes the diamond look like it's floating. If you can then shape your claws in little triangles, they'll actually match up with the facets. And when you look down from the top, you don't see a big rounded claw. It's one of the most annoying things I find in jewelry is a big rounded claw. There's a myth going around among that the big rounded claw is more secure and safer. It's not. It really isn't. Like I said, I've set hundreds of thousands of diamonds. When you have a big rounded claw, you've got more chance of it catching in jumpers and scarves, things like that. When these things happen, it pulls the claw and then you're ripped out and you're left with a loose stone. Also, it's the aesthetic of it. You want a diamond that looks like it's floating. You spent an awful lot of money on this diamond and you want it to be shown off to its best quality. Now, there's other little things here you have to look for too. When you're looking at the side of a ring, all these things matter. See the little facets and cut underneath there? All these little tiny details. They're hugely important to the overall look of the ring. If you see this, if this is over polished, and again, like I said, these majority rings are made in China under rough conditions in poorly lit workshops, and they're just polished and try and get them out as quick as possible. It's all about the speed of how quickly these people can get the jewelry out. If you just look at that small little details, that's why the claws are so important. Underneath the ring is so important. And little things with craftsmanship. It was always the way back in traditional times where underneath section of the ring should look as good as the top of the ring. And I still stick by that rule. Every part of the ring has to look beautiful. I always put little, tiny little trinkets, or is it trinket you call it? Tiny little secrets inside the stone. Just a little diamond set in a star underneath there. No other person's going to see that, but you know it's going to be there. I think these little things are hugely important. Quality, the way that's done underneath there. I always like to have a little bit of the diamond showing through here, where possible. Again, you're paying an awful lot of money for a diamond. It should be shown off to its best quality. I'll show you a slightly different ring. So this is quite a big diamond. It's a 1.5 G. I'll go through all these details with you in a few minutes, but I just wanted to show you. A lot of people get focused on the diamond, the diamond, the diamond. They concentrate on the diamond and they don't concentrate on the ring. To me, that is completely the wrong way around to look at this. If you spend a fortune on a diamond and then put it into a poorly made, mass-produced ring, what you have is a Porsche engine in a 92 Fiat Punto. Nothing against people that with Fiat Puntos, they're probably great, but you're not going to stick a Porsche engine in it because you will have trouble. The claws will fall out, stones will come loose, and plus, it's just not going to look nice. Craftsmanship is everything when it comes to jewelry. The techniques, the little details, that's what it's all about. Okay, So these are diamond setting benches. I'm going to show you now probably with the more traditional goldsmithing bench here. But again, you've got your jewelry peg, you've got your cutting peg. This is where all the filing, the major, bigger work is done. You've got your leather skin down here, so all the dust will fall in there. Very important, all the dust is kept, not just because of financial aspects, but like gold is an amazing material to work with. Every day I work with it, it just still has this magical effect. There's a reason that it's been coveted for centuries, because it just has something special about it. So no gold goes to waste. Every bit of, as you can see, it's almost like a lab setting. This is not a dusty workshop. We want to keep everything completely clean, completely scientific. Another thing when people are talking to me about getting an engagement ring made is, especially a bespoke piece, there's a little bit of worry that they won't know what it's going to look like and what are they going to do then. So to eliminate that, we have a 3D wax printer. Like I said, I'm incorporating as much modern technology as I can to give the customer the best quality, because that's what it's all about. There's people say, oh, that's not traditional, you shouldn't use that. To me, that's just staying in the dark ages. The quality of the ring at the end is what it's all about. How it's made is irrelevant as long as the quality is perfect. So I'll just give you a quick demonstration here. This is a 3D wax printer. So we're working on a ring for a customer with a quite unusual stone in it. I'm just going to turn this on now. So you can see how this works. It literally builds up in layers of wax what the ring is going to look like. And I'm going to show you over the microscope the difference. So then the customer gets to come in, see the wax on her hand. She gets to see the stone sitting inside that. She gets a full view of what the ring is going to look like. So it eliminates any of the worry or any of the fear somebody might have when they're getting a bespoke ring made. Okay, I'll just show you over here. Okay, it's our take on traditional halo. You see that? So this is the wax sample. Now it's quite an unusual stone. The person's not going for a diamond, they're going for a Malay garnet, which is cut by my late master goldsmith, Urban Springbrum. These garnets are absolutely amazing. They actually have the same refractive index as diamonds, so you get a huge return in light. So that customer yesterday was able to come in, try on this ring, get to see the proportions on her hand, be fully aware of what the ring is going to look like. Obviously, it's not going to be blue. I think we have to put that in as a disclaimer, but so there, you get a full view of what you're going to get. And again, that's mixing modern technology with traditional skills. The ring. Do you want to mention about that customer? Oh yeah, thank you, Trace. That customer was one of the customers I mentioned at the start. They came in, they bought this ring online from an English company, and she wore it for 2 days and 2 stones had fallen out. By the time she got to me, when I looked at it under the microscope, I just poked it with the little scriber and 2 more stones fell out. So that just shows you the kind of quality that you're getting online sometimes with these people. You really have to be careful. You have to know what you're looking for, and you have to know where you're getting the pieces from. Like that customer left here in tears that day, which is absolutely horrific for somebody to have that experience. Now, luckily, they were able to get their money back because the ring was literally only a week old. But there's other people that I know that have not got their money back and have just been left high and dry, especially when they buy rings in the likes of Dubai, Qatar, even sometimes in New York. They go back. Well, first of all, you have to pay for the flight back there. You have to pay for your accommodation, all that kind of stuff. And you go back and you don't get any return. Sometimes the jewelry shops aren't even there where they were, it used to be. So I feel it's an injustice and it's really bad. It gives a lot of jewelers like myself who work very hard to create beautiful pieces a bad name when you've got people like this selling work that is completely just, it's criminal, to be honest, to be doing that kind of stuff. And something the customer said to me yesterday, they checked up online and that same ring is back up for sale again. And some other poor couple are going to get caught in that same situation, you know. So just be wary, know where you're getting the ring from, know that you have come back with it. I guarantee everything I do here, because I make it myself, I know exactly how it's made. If there's a problem, I always tell people, immediately come back to me. That's what has to be done. You have to expect that. You're spending a lot of money and a lot of emotional effort in these kind of things. So I'm going to bring you over now to our studio, and I'm going to talk a bit about diamonds and hopefully not bore you too much. Oh yeah, just have a look at, this is one of our masterpieces. It's a 69.3 carat Irwin spring-grown cut morganite. It's, well, I don't think I have to say anymore, just look at it. It has 201 graduated diamonds. So we start up at the top in cognac, and then it graduates in color down to white diamonds. Then we've got the chain, which is used for the infinity symbol, and we have a little marquee diamond set in between each one of them. So here's our studio. This is where we meet our customers. It's like I said, I wanted to take away from the complete shop kind of feel, where you're trying to buy your engagement ring that you're going to be wearing for the rest of your life while there's 8 other people in the shop. When you come in here, you're the only person that you're going to be having to deal with. Everything is about you when you come to this place, and it's all about your special day. Because every time I want you to look at your hand, which is hundreds of times a day. Just think about that. You're going to look at your hand hundreds of times a day. Every time you look at it, I want you to feel good that you've got a beautiful engagement ring, but remember the experience you had when you were getting it. Okay? So I'm not going to be putting up charts or things like that. I think it's best if I just talk about what I feel is the most important thing when you're buying a diamond. The diamonds are priced by the 4 C's, okay? So you can look this up online. There's loads of different charts. I even have stuff on my YouTube page that you can check up, where I go through each individual one with diagrams. But today, I just want to go through what I feel is the most important thing. Okay, the first one is the carat. Okay, so carat is basically the size of the stone. It's the unit in which gemstones and diamonds are measured. The name carat comes from the use of carob seeds hundreds of years ago, where they used to use as a counterbalance on their diamond scales. When it comes to pricing, obviously, the bigger the stone, the more it's going to cost. There's certain price points. So when it goes over half a carat, the price will jump significantly. When it goes over 80 points, the price will jump. When it gets to 1 carat, which is 100 points. So if you hear somebody talk about, I've got a 1 carat stone, that means it's 100 points. A half carat will be 50 points, if you know what I mean. When it jumps over 1 carat, the price keeps jumping significantly after that. So these are things you should be looking out for when you're buying a diamond. If you were to get, let's say, an 80 or a 90 pointer, there's not a huge size difference between that and a 1 carat, but there will be a huge price difference between that and a 1 carat. The carat is pretty much self-explanatory, so I won't spend any more time on that. The next one is the color. So when you're buying white diamonds, now I have an array of different colors diamonds here that we can see later on, but we'll just concentrate on white diamonds for now. When you're buying white diamonds, you want completely colorless. You want absolutely no trace of color whatsoever. So you're like looking through complete clear water. Now, the color grading system starts at D. Why it starts at the letter D is up until 1933, there was loads of different color grading systems. Every region had its own color grading systems, and there was no uniformed system, which made it very confusing when you're buying stones internationally. So the GIA came up with this color chart system, and that starts at D. And it works all the way down to Z. As you can imagine, the D is the most expensive, and as you drop down the chart, the price will start to drop too. That is until you get to Z, and then it goes into fancy colors, and the price will start to increase as you go up along like that. When customers come to me, obviously depending on their budget, depending what they're looking for, to find the difference between a G color and a D. When you put them side by side, you can see a slight difference. But when you're out on an every day-to-day basis, I always tell people, if you have a budget in mind, you can get a really beautiful stone in a G or an E color. That's the kind of color grades you can look for. The next one then is the clarity. If you can imagine that diamonds are naturally occurring pieces of crystal that happen 1.5 miles underneath the earth and are brought to the earth's surface by very aggressive volcanoes. To find a piece of stone that has absolutely no inclusion in is incredibly rare. So the rarer the stone is, the more expensive it becomes. So when you're buying, as I mean inclusions, there's slight little imperfections that run through the stone, like little pieces of dirt or little pieces of cavities. But like these are minuscule, tiny, tiny stones, or tiny, tiny inclusions to be looking at. What we're looking for is completely perfect. And the color grade chart, the clarity chart goes from flawless, which you can imagine is absolutely perfect. Then the next one is internally flawless. So you have inside the stone itself is completely perfect. But on the outside, you may have, let's say, a little burn mark or a little inclusion just on the outside. Now, when it's IF, internally flawless, it's incredibly hard to spot. As you can see, I have microscopes in there, and it takes me a long time to find the tiny little inclusion that are in IF stones. So you're not going to see that with your naked eye. It's absolutely perfect. The next one then is VVS, okay? So that means very, very slightly included. Every time I say that, I feel slightly embarrassed. It just seems like a strange statement to talk about when you're talking about diamonds, but it's very, very slightly included. And inside that, you've got very slightly included 1 and 2 different grading systems. Again, you will need a microscope and know what you're looking for to find these inclusions. The next one after that is VS, which is very slightly included, and there's 1 and 2. Once again, unless the inclusion is right in the middle of the table of the stone, you're going to find it quite hard to spot an inclusion with the VS stone. Then we've got IS, which is slightly included. And again, there's 1 and 2 in that grade. Probably boring you now, better speed up. You've got slightly included 1 and 2. At this point, you may be able to see it with your naked eye, but on only very, very little. Then you've got I, which is included. And at that point, I always say to people, if you can see it with your naked eye, you probably shouldn't be buying a diamond that has an inclusion. Because the one thing that will happen, like I said, every time you look at your hand, that one inclusion, however small it is, if you can see it with your eye, you're going to look at that. That's the only thing you're going to see. Now, the last C, and the most important C, in my opinion, is the cut. Okay? I will always say to my customers, I will sacrifice the first 3 Cs all the time, but I will never sacrifice the cut. When it comes to diamonds and gemstones, the cut is the single most important thing that you have to worry about. It's a mathematical equation that when diamonds are cut properly, when the angles and the proportions are right on the stone, it turns the crystal into a prism. And what you see happening, the flash and return of light, is white light turning into the colors of the spectrum. So if you have a look here, when you move a diamond like that, what you're seeing there is white light changing color. Now, this is one of the biggest things that happen when people buy stones, especially in the Middle East. They come home with huge, huge big diamonds, and they're like always on to me about how they got an amazing deal. But here's what you have to look out for when you're buying diamonds. If the diamond proportions are cut incorrectly, what happens is instead of cutting the stone like this, which is perfect angle underneath there, they will cut them like this. Okay, and in the industry, we call this the belly of the stone. And what that will do is that will add extra weight to your diamond. So when it's weighed, it will actually be, instead of a 1.5 carat, it'll be a 2 carat. But the problem is when the light comes in, it doesn't reflect back. It just goes out through the stone. And you have what we call a dead stone. So instead of a beautiful big diamond, you have just what could be a piece of glass in all respect. There's no return of light. The stone is not cut properly. You're going to end up with just a dead stone. The next thing is when they're cut too shallow. So they'll be cut like this. So this happens quite a lot maybe in the US, where they want to make the stone look as big as possible from the top instead of weighing as big as possible, or weighing as much as possible. But again, you have the same thing where the light comes in the top and it goes out the bottom. You end up with a dead stone. The most important thing you have to look for is the return of light from a stone. Even if they're quite small diamonds, you still have to have them packing a punch. Now this isn't a small diamond, it's 1 carat, but that is what you're looking for. Just quickly talk about different colors. So here we've got this beautiful oval shaped cognac that has a slight green tinge to it. I absolutely love colored diamonds. To me, they offer you a really good alternative to gemstones when it comes to engagement rings. Engagement rings primarily use diamonds because you're going to be wearing that every single day. And if you have a diamond, the diamond is the hardest thing on the earth. The only thing that's going to scrape a diamond is another diamond. Even when you use the likes of ruby and sapphire, who are next in line in Mohs scale of hardness, over time, the facets of the stone will wear away. And when your facets start to wear away, it will affect the return of light to your diamond, to your gemstone. So that's something you should look out for. It's not a reason not to get a sapphire, ruby, or a different kind of gemstone, or a garnet like I just showed you. But it's just something to be aware of, that your stone the facets may start to wear away over time. What we have here is this gorgeous blue diamond, sorry. So this is an emerald cut stone. And what I've done with it, again, it just takes a little bit of thinking. And because, like I said before, every piece is made individually for the stone, it just adds another little bit. Putting this in rose gold with white diamonds. Then if you can see up along here, just graduated into light blue diamonds as well. So there's no end to what you can do when you're designing from the beginning. Always, like I said, put little diamonds underneath. Every part of the ring should look as beautiful as the top. And every stone should stay in as long as you have the piece of jewelry. I'm just going to quickly talk to you about diamond certs. When you're buying diamonds, I always say this to my customers, the cert is a good indication of what you're getting, but don't buy a stone just on the cert itself, because jewelry, art, everything, it's a visual thing. It's something that you have to see. I have seen stones that have exactly the same certs, but one just looks nicer than the other. It's a visual thing. So I always say to people, don't get caught up too much on the cert. This happens to people that buy online quite a lot. They feel that if they have the cert right, then they're going to get a good stone. And you're going to get a good quality stone if it's got a good cert. But that little bit of just something extra, that is hugely important when it comes to jewelry. And that has to be done by seeing it. You have to see the stone, and you have to trust the person that's selling you the diamond, selling you the piece of jewelry, that it's going to be good. When you're buying certs, or when you're buying diamonds, these are the certs, 3 certs you should only get. There's GIA, which is the most popular one on the go. Then you have IGI, and then you have HRD. These 2 are based in Antwerp, and this is an American company. They are all, if you have a diamond with these certs, they are reputable. But I have seen people coming in buying stones from different countries and a cert that I've never heard of. So you're kind of like, okay, you shouldn't be buying that. You need these 3 certs, or it's not worth the paper it's printed on. Okay. Just wonder how long we've gone now, for half an hour now. So I'm just wondering, is there any questions coming in that people would like to have?
Great, Nigel. Listen, thank you so much. I now want to commission a ring. Thanks for that. We have a few questions in, all right. One of the ones that actually I thought was quite interesting, grey diamonds. What are they, and are they a worthwhile investment?
Okay, grey diamonds. Again, this is my personal opinion. So I am not a fan of grey diamonds. If you had been listening to me at all, I'm always talking about the return of light. And what a grey diamond is a diamond that's so full of inclusions that it actually gives off this greyish color. So when there's so many inclusions inside a stone, that's stopping the return of light coming out. I'm just not a fan. As per, are they a good investment? I would say no. I don't think they're a good investment. If you see a grey diamond and that's what you like, it's always a personal preference. You know, go for it. But to me, I think they're kind of a bit of a fad at the minute, where there's been a lot of Pinterest and Instagram of grey diamonds and how amazing they are. But I'm a bit traditional when it comes to that kind of thing. If you have a budget in mind, just buy a gemstone. Buy something that's genuinely beautiful as opposed to something that runs in a fad. Some people ask me about rose gold. Is that just going to go out of fashion? And I actually don't look at the fashions because I don't know what's going on in jewelry, because I concentrate on my own work. I make and use rose gold because it's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful color. And when you match it with different colors, gemstones, different colored diamonds, they can look amazing. So, you know, I always tell people, don't buy something because of its popular at the time. Buy something because of its beauty, as opposed to what you see on Pinterest. That's just my opinion on grey diamonds.
And I suppose related to that, that idea of, obviously, you know, if you're buying a really good stone, it is an investment. But at the end of the day, you have to live with it. So how do you balance that priority of this is an investment versus, but this is the one I love, but it might not be as good an investment?
Well, the thing when it comes to investments, I'm like, I don't think you should buy jewelry as an investment. I think you should buy jewelry because you love it. It does have value, and it does have, like, gold and diamonds will always have value. As you can see, in times of crisis like we're in now in the economy, the price of gold just keeps going up and up. But I would always say to people, if you're looking to invest, go do something else. But if you're looking to buy a piece of jewelry that makes you happy and, you know, enriches your life, buy something that you love, not buy something for an investment.
Good advice.
You know? Yeah, I just find it, some people are looking at things as like, oh, well, is this a better investment? I'm like, well, you have to balance it out. What would you get that makes you happy every single day, every single time you look at it? What kind of price would you put on something like that? And you can't put a price on something like that. So I don't try and do that when it comes to jewelry.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
The next question, funny enough, is kind of running on from that. If you are buying an engagement ring, what should you be budgeting on that, or how should you, figure out the best way to?
It's a complete personal thing, really, on how much you can afford and how much you would like to spend on an engagement ring. When it comes to our work, I would say the starting price would be about 4,500, would be, let's say, the lower end. But even in that, you can get a beautiful, beautiful ring that you're proud of and happy to show every single person you see. But like, the sky is the limit on where you can go with price wise. Let's say this, if we're to go through this beautiful stone here, this is 28,000 roughly. They're on the website. I can't remember them offhand. This cognac diamond here is 17,800. So this again is another one. If this was a white diamond in this size, we'd be talking, let's say, over 30,000. But because it's a cognac and it's got that color running through it, you really do get a good bargain when it comes to colored diamonds. So it's always an alternative like that. Let's say this 1 carat is coming in at just over 12,000. And this guy here is coming in at 23,000, I think.
Excellent. What type of
so
color?
Again, the budget really is up to you. But when I take customers in, that's what I say to them. I'm like, what is your max budget? If you tell me your max budget, then I can work within those frames and I can get you the best quality ring for that budget. As opposed to some people still are in the opinion, I'm not going to tell them how much I want to spend just in case he thinks. But I'm like, look, it's not buying a car. It's, look, once you tell me the max, I will always give you a few different options. Okay, this one is over your budget, this one's on your budget, and this one's under your budget. And this is why. And this one's more expensive because of the different C's. Or
Somebody has asked.
And in terms of colors of diamonds, what sort of colors do you get?
color diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the sky is the limit, really. When it comes to color diamonds, the most popular and common would be the yellow diamonds, the cognac diamonds. Then we have pink diamonds. Let's go grab that pink. Follow me. I'll show you my pink diamonds. Okay, I'll bring it over to the. So here we go. If you can see this little guy, it's absolutely beautiful, beautiful pink diamond. Now this is quite a small stone. It's under half a carat, but as you can see, what I was talking about, the cut of this stone is absolutely amazing, and the vivid color is just beautiful.
Right.
Price.
So unusual.
It's between 3 and 4.
I think this is about 4,500 for this one. Now, something I will talk about, these two diamonds here. Now, these are natural diamonds, but they are enhanced color. So they started their life out as white diamonds, but what they did is put them under intense heat and radiation, and it actually changed the structure of the stone, and you have brought out this color, which is absolutely amazing. That does make them a lot more affordable, because let's say this is over 3 carat emerald cut blue diamond. That's coming in at 23,000. If that was a natural blue, we're talking about, I don't know, a few million for this kind of stone. So you can see the huge price difference you get once it's treated. And some people again say, is that a bad investment? And I'm like, look at the stone. Look how beautiful it is. Just because it had some heat treatment to it, still natural diamond, still occurred underneath the earth. So I think they're huge. They're a really good alternative.
Excellent. I have another question in here from Cleena, and she's saying, what's your opinion on laboratory cultivated diamonds? I'm having one of those days. Do you see many customers wanting to opt for these over natural diamonds?
Yeah, it's lab grown diamonds is a strange one, and it's changing constantly, or changing quite rapidly. The technology has been there for years, but now with technologies improving, diamonds, they're able to be produced a lot quicker and a lot cheaper. So when it comes to lab grown diamonds, they are roughly half the price of what natural diamonds are. Now, whether I like them more or not I'm still on the fence when it comes to these kind of things, because I'm a bit of a romantic when it comes to the fact that these diamonds occurred naturally under the earth when the right amount of heat, the right amount of pressure, and the right chemicals came together. And it's just that kind of thing absolutely fascinates me when it comes to diamonds and gemstones, that these things occurred naturally. Mm-hmm. And then it took almost another miracle for them to get to the surface, and then to be found, and then to be cut properly, and then to be put into a piece of jewelry. There's a huge line of events that got to where that ring is sitting there today, do you know? And I love the romance of that, and I love the kind of idea that these things came together. It's almost like a birth of a child or something like that. It's just, you know, there's a magic to it. On the lab grown, I kind of feel that takes away a little bit of the magic in some ways. But, you know, maybe over time it will be an alternative for people. What also is happening, as long as the technology is improving, is that the technology to test if it's a natural or it's a lab grown diamond is improving as well. So I don't think it will be long until every single diamond shop will have a machine that can test it. So again, that automatically halves the price of your jewelry, because if it's a lab grown, it's not as expensive. This is where the investment thing comes into play, where if you're buying a ring for an investment, if it's a lab grown, it's always going to be a lab grown, where natural diamonds are always going to be sought after. Everybody's going to be, everybody always wants what the rarest thing they can get. So yeah, that's my opinion on lab grown diamonds. If that's of any help to you.
Brilliant. And then we have one last question, and I suppose this one is kind of affecting everybody at the moment, but how are things different buying an engagement ring during lockdown?
It's been a funny one, really. The first 4 weeks of lockdown were quite quiet, and that was okay for everybody. But after that, then people really started to come out of their shell and get in contact. And so all you have to do is, like I say, embrace modern technology. I've had loads of Zoom calls with people, which is actually going forward in the future. I actually could see that being a major thing for my business, because I'm in the west of Ireland. I'm not exactly central. So I have Zoom calls with people all the time now, and I can get the initial conversation over with and see exactly what they're looking for. They get to know me a bit better, and they get to trust what I'm doing, and I get to show them certain examples of what to look for when you're buying a diamond. So there has been a huge increase, actually. The last few weeks, there's been a huge uptake. So either couples, I think, have decided they want to get married and spend the rest of their life together, or never see each other again. And lockdown has had that effect on a lot of people, I think. Thankfully, I'm still with Tracy, so it's all good. But yeah, so that's, that's kind of one of the happy accidents that's happened over the last 11 weeks, is that these kind of things do happen. And it's another thing, working remotely, you just have to work around the circumstances that you're in. So the quality of the jewelry is always going to be high, and just have to interact with people in a different way.
Yeah, and I think for an awful lot of us moving forward, meetings we assumed would have had to take place in person probably now are much more feasible to do over Zoom or whatever. For you, I'd imagine that's all the more important if you've got clients in London or wherever else. It makes
it's
it a
hugely
little bit more
important.
feasible rather than trying to fly back and forth.
Yeah, well, like just this morning, I had an interview with a magazine in Tel Aviv. So it's kind of like, before that wouldn't have happened, or you would have been nervous about it, like, oh, how am I going to come across in the interview? But like, we've done it so many times over the last 12 weeks that it's almost second nature. Even doing things like this is, just the way people do things, and we've just adapted. So yeah, America is in a strange situation at the minute, but there is still a lot of positives for me in the American market, and still a lot of interest out there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the future and using these tools that we've had to learn.
Fantastic. But I think that's a perfect note to finish it on. Nigel, listen, thank you so much. That was really fascinating. What was really enjoyable as somebody watching this was seeing the workshop as well as the finished product, and getting an insight into all of the elements that have to be thought through when you're creating something beautiful. And I particularly loved the fact that you take that total ring perspective and you put that little diamond in where nobody's going to see it except the person wearing it. It's a gorgeous touch. So listen, thank you so much for today. It was really great to have you on. And if anyone has any questions afterwards, just send them on into us and we can forward those on to Nigel.
Yeah,
so,
like that, I can, if any questions come in, and I can put them up on my Instagram feed and talk about them there.
That's great. Okay, well listen, take care, Nigel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. I thought that was brilliant. Brilliant. Hello.